Hi, everyone. Tony from Hack the Movies here. Troll 2, the worst movie ever.
It's the worst. Is it, though?
Is it really the worst movie ever?
Though?
That's what we're going to talk about today on this episode of Talking About Tapes.
Tapes, we're talking about tapes.
Oh my God, Ian, how are you?
Oh, I am blessed that I am back at the Hack the Movie set.
That's good. It's so nice to see you again. The last time I saw you was at your first wedding. I hope you enjoyed your first marriage.
So far, it is, as they say, I hate wife, right? In those comics that I grew up reading.
What?
Wife bad?
What comics?
I don't know, like in the funnies in the newspaper. How, like, all the boomer humor is I hate my wife and cell phone bad.
That's like every sitcom at around that time, too.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
you know what they say. First is the worst.
Second is...
Second will be the best, much like Troll 2.
Exactly! Perfect segue.
Yes, Troll 2. Very famous bad movie. Can I talk about Troll 1 for a second?
Of course.
Have you ever seen Troll 1?
I haven't.
So, look, out of all the movies that feature someone named Harry Potter and fantasy creatures, it's at the top of the list. It's at the very top of the list.
You know, even if I haven't seen it, I'd agree with that.
Yes, it was directed by John Carl Buechler, and now I have a reason to point this out. He was an effects guy.
Ooh.
He actually did a lot of the effects for the Carnosaur movies. I got a Carnosaur Laserdisc.
Wow.
And I have a Carnosaur 2 poster on the way. It's not here.
Oh, okay. I was like looking around for it.
A fan bought it for me. He also directed Friday the 13th Part 7. Troll 1 is actually a fun movie. It's a fun little fantasy movie. It's not a horror movie. There's scary elements in it.
Right.
It's got Sonny Bono in it.
Ooh.
He's one of the people in the apartment building. It's got a very young Julia Louis-Dreyfus in it, Elaine from Seinfeld. But yes, an Italian filmmaker or production company did Troll 2, which was called Goblins. But the Italians love to do this thing where if they like owned a movie or a distribution right, I forget what the legal thing around it was. They would just say that a movie was a sequel to some other unrelated movie.
I mean,
so Troll 1,
makes sense.
Troll 1, I guess sold pretty well. It's a low budget movie, must have made its money back. And then when they were making this, they were like, there's little monsters in this. Let's just call it Troll 2.
Exactly.
Despite the fact it's entirely about goblins. There's a lot of movies like this. I'll actually talk about 2 in a minute.
Oh.
But yeah, when did you first see this movie?
So I first saw Troll 2 back when I was like 15 years ago when I was in middle school.
Okay.
I was at my friend's house and we watched the documentary that is about that movie.
Best worst movie.
Best worst movie. And I was like, wow, that movie looks really fun. I want to go see that. So my friend was like, well, I have the VHS. I was like, oh, great. Let's pop it in and watch it right now. So we watched it that night. And I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I was the perfect age. I was like 13 years old. It was excellent. It was funny. I was happy. I was sad. Roller coaster of emotions. It was thrilling.
Yeah, speaking of VHS tape, I love that like the kid on the box is not who's
No,
in the
it's
movie.
not even the
And then
kid.
there's like a giant ogre thing in the background.
Yeah, it's essentially the poster for The Thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just with a kid in like his pajamas in the front.
Which again was very popular at that time. To just speaking of which, this fucking dinosaur on the cover of this, the one in the movie doesn't look quite like that. The first time I saw it, I don't know. I watching the documentary, they kept mentioning that it was on HBO a lot.
Yeah.
I definitely probably saw it on cable. I enjoyed it. I laughed at it, but I don't like watch this one as much as other people do. As even though I'm like a guy who loves bad movies,
Right.
Again, I have to point to the Carnosaur thing again.
That's 3 times in like 5 minutes. It's a record.
I like bad movies and stuff, and I actually enjoyed this movie. I watched it a bunch of times, but like I'm not as into it as other people are. And I think part of it is it's just not that bad for me. It's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it's not like people call it the worst movie ever made, and like I can definitely see where they're coming from with that. However, it is so much fun. It's not bad, you know?
I've been in worse movies than this.
The Dark Knight Rises.
No. That was one of the good ones. Please.
I mean, you were the star.
But I was in Thugs versus Dinosaurs.
Ooh, classic.
Thugs versus Dinosaurs is way worse than this. There might be a sequel, by the way.
Oh boy, even more thugs.
Less dinosaurs, I hope.
Just the thugs. Actually, that would be a perfect compliment to Troll 2. How
It
there's
really
no trolls. Thugs versus dinosaurs, but no dinosaurs.
Yeah, so I don't have like, I'm not as in that, like, I like more stuff like Samurai Cop. Like, that is a movie
Yeah.
that is bad from top to bottom. Like, there's no, other than it's fun to laugh at, there's no like real redeeming quality in that. Like, the film stock is different, so
Yeah.
the color grading's all off, the wig and everything. This movie's almost like it's shot a little too competently.
Yeah, it's
and-
like it's genuinely well made in terms
yeah.
of like its production aspects.
yeah,
like,
there are things that stopped it from being really good.
yeah.
But yeah, let's figure out where this movie went wrong.
Yeah.
First note I have here is a woman wrote it. Oh,
All right.
remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Johanna's gonna kill me. Oh my god.
So directed by Claudio Fragasso.
Which is not what they show in the movie.
No, they. So
They did
I
not
really
show
like
Claudio Fragazzo in the title.
I really like the director. He's also made worse movies. Bruno Mattei. He used to go under different pseudonyms for American releases.
Yeah, he's like Draco something in
At
this
some
one, right?
point, like indie like theaters and video stores started catching on. They're like, nah, I'm not trusting that Guido. And they're like, oh no, I'm Michael Sherp. And like they would just put like weird
Yeah.
names in there. So his wife wrote this. Would you like to tell where she came
Oh
up
my
with this
gosh.
idea?
So she got the idea for Troll 2, extremely inspirational. They were having a dinner party with their friends, and as all of them became vegetarians, every single one of them. And the sons of bitches ruined the dinner party by being vegetarians. So they were like, I need to express this in a film, in cinema, where the vegetarians are the bad guys, and boom, Troll 2.
I can't imagine being like, I'm so angry at my friends. I need to go to Utah and film a movie.
How
Like, what
dare
the
they
fuck?
make conscious, healthy life decisions on my watch without eating my prosciutto?
Yeah, so she wrote it. Claudio directed it. He directed some other movies.
Oh, I've only ever seen this movie that he directed.
Well, I mean, he directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And by that, I mean, in Italy, Texas Chainsaw is called Don't Open That Door. And they made a movie called Night Killer, which I reviewed on Cinemassacre many moons ago, which is worse than this film. And they decided in Italy to call it Don't Open That Door 3, as if it was a sequel to Texas Chainsaw. And the only thing is, like, the guy has, like, a fleshy monster mask.
So
And that's
close to Leatherface, I guess.
I guess literally nothing else to do with it. And he also directed Terminator 2.
Wow.
No, not that Terminator 2. He directed a movie called Shocking Dark, which is actually a ripoff of Aliens, if I'm remembering right.
Even better.
But I think there are some cyborgs in it, so they released it way before Terminator 2 came out. In other countries, it's called it Terminator 2.
I mean, it works for me.
So
I would have seen it instead of the James Cameron schlock.
Yeah, exactly. Way better than James Cameron. But yeah, so he's done this a couple times
Yeah.
before. It's been a minute since I've seen Shock and Dark. But yeah, I did have to watch Night Killer for that review years ago. Night Killer is so much worse than this. It is so much worse than this. This actually, as dumb as the story is, and we'll get into it,
Oh, yes.
you can somewhat kind of follow it. Whereas,
There's a path, and it's
Yeah.
at least a little comprehensible. That I
Yeah.
understand the story of the ebb and the flow and everything.
yeah, I understand. I don't understand 100%,
Oh,
but
yeah,
like
but-
afterwards, I'm like, okay, that's how they got there. They took a weird path to get there.
But you know when like they get from point A to point B, and
Yeah, they-
scene to scene, even though it's like edited a little choppily,
They-
you still know what's going on.
They do get to point A from point A to point B. They zigzag a little.
They-
Night Killer. I don't know if there ever was a point B. It just was A, and it was the whole thing. Okay, so yeah, they used an entire Italian crew, sent them to Utah to shoot this, and that's where a lot of the problems come in with this because
It's excellent.
the filmmakers and the cast could not communicate with each other because they all had broken English. But yeah, let's talk about this wonderful film. Let's go through it.
I love it.
Let's go through it. I don't have a physical copy, or else we would have read the tape. Sorry.
It's right here.
Ah!
All right.
It opens up with the grandfather. What was it? Grandfather Seth?
Grandpa Seth, yes.
Grandpa Seth, and he's telling the stories of goblins attacking some guy named Peter.
Yes. You ever seen The Princess Bride? It's that, but better.
It really is The Princess Bride. I think that came out before this.
A couple
I
years,
remember
maybe.
right. Yeah. Or maybe Princess Bride ripped this off. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I review like one of these schlocky movies. I'm like, well, clearly they ripped that off, and then I find out that the movie came out first.
Oh, but no, Troll 2 came out in 1990. Princess Bride came out in the 80s. So
never mind. Never mind. So yeah, they're attacking someone called Peter. Now, usually in a monster movie, the rule is don't show your monster too early. Claudio Fragasso never learned that rule, so where we see the trolls or the goblins
it's
just
a
running
suggestion. It's not a rule. 1 minute in, we see it. We see the goblins running around.
They're barely animated faces.
They are latex masks with potato sacks.
And I think
little
the guy
people.
talked about how like they had to like tape the hands because their little hands couldn't fill out the big
Yeah, the
gloves.
gloves were too like big for them, so they had to like tape them in. So if you ever see like the close up of like the goblins when they're going like this, they're so wiggly because there's no like human hand in there. It's literally just the latex going up and down.
He trips, and a girl with obvious fake freckles comes over.
Those
to
were
help him.
fake?
It might shock you, but yes, Ian, those were in fact fake freckles. But here's an example of like this movie's not like it's almost a little too good because we see Josh, the little kid, suddenly in the
Which
flashback.
it always makes me crack up.
It's weird they don't do that more often, but I'm like, okay, that was a creative decision, and a clever edit.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of bad movies that don't get anywhere near as close to that good. But he's right; it is a goblin in disguise, and she's trying to feed him that weird green paste.
And it's like they describe it as the most delicious and beautiful looking cuisine, and it's like it's the goop from Power Rangers, but it's green. Like from the Power Rangers
like Nickelodeon slime. Like, here you go. He obviously gets eaten by the goblins.
And let's not forget when he's drinking it, they make it a big deal to say that he did not break eye contact with the female in disguise the whole time.
Yep.
So you can see him struggling to eat
Yeah,
this
he's
like soup, whatever. Because she's like feeding it to him, so he's just like arms down, like.
I do want to say I love Joshua's bedroom. He's got that nice Batman '89 poster.
It's like they. I guess they didn't have Google really back then. They I don't know, went to the newspaper. People did in the 1900s.
I was wondering what the licensing was, because it's the Batman '89, then Superman, and then he's got a poster of the Joker from The Killing Joke.
Yeah, and then he has like miscellaneous sports.
Yeah, miscellaneous sports, and then Disney shirts, like Mickey Mouse shirts. I'm like, and this is an MGM movie. They don't own any of this shit. Well, I guess MGM had a good relationship with Disney.
Yeah, because they had Hollywood,
but
MGM
like
studios back then.
the Warner Brothers stuff, I'm like, man, this must have been a nightmare to fucking license all that shit.
I'm sure that they didn't.
Yeah, I didn't have a Batman '89 poster growing up. I was a few years older, so I had a few years younger than this kid, so I had Val Kilmer on my door for many, 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 many years.
Wow.
Many years I would shut my door and look at Val Kilmer and his weird bat nipple.
Wasn't Clooney with the nipple?
Kilmer did it first. People forget Kilmer had the
Kilmer
nipples
did
first.
have the nipple.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher.
I mean, Batman and Robin is the greatest movie of all time, so
Strong disagree. So did you
bad.
Did you see The Flash?
Yeah, it flashed before my eyes.
But
No,
you must have liked the ending.
I didn't watch The Flash.
Oh,
But I know the ending because I saw the scene.
that's the only scene you wanted
That's
to
all
see.
I cared
It's the
about.
only scene.
I was like, let's go. It's nipple time.
You were probably upset because they're like, wait, Michael Keaton, that means Batman Forever and Robin are no longer in canon with those films. And then you must have been so thrilled.
I was worried for a moment.
You're like,
and
oh,
then
even better. They're in their own separate universe.
I started to cheer. I started to cry.
Anyway, he has a really cool room, is what I'm saying. That looks like something that would have been my room as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns out that his grandfather is a ghost.
Yeah, he's like, the grandpa's reading the story, which they have amazing shots of the grandfather's face.
Yeah.
Like, Joshua asked the grandpa a question, and I can't mimic this on the setup, but you just see his head just like come in like this.
Yeah.
It's
See,
just like the side of his head.
a
It's
cr-
actually really well shot.
a creative shot. I've seen a lot of movies that are just wide shots on tripods, blank, flat, and
Yeah.
they shoot all the scenes there. And then, God, what was that movie I watched at VHS Fest this year? Winter Beast. That movie was fucking awful.
Yeah, but he's telling the story, and then the mom comes in,
Yes. Diana.
and it's like, I was just talking to Grandpa. And they peer over to the rocking chair, and no one is there.
Ooh. Why is he a ghost? Who's to say?
He died?
Well, he did
Well-
die, but like, why is he visiting them? Why does he know so much about goblins? It's a whole thing. So the mom, she has like crazy eyes this whole film.
Oh, yeah. Does she blink at all?
I feel like she does. I'm sure she does, but it feels like she
It
doesn't.
feels like she doesn't.
She just looks like surprised and sorry. She looks like a goblin who's trying to be a human and not knowing how to pull it off. And we couldn't figure out what was up with this lady in the documentary. Like, there's she was never really clear. Like,
Because, like, it seems like she's a little bit of a shut-in with her mom, taking
yes.
care of her.
And I get having to take care of your mom, like especially
Yeah.
when they're elderly. But she seems like she had something weird on top of
Yeah,
that.
there was, like, definitely something going on.
Yeah.
Because in the documentary, when they try to get her to come to, like, one of the screenings, she's like, I can't go.
Yeah.
My neighbors keep me up with horrible noises.
Yeah, and they never like pry and
Well,
figure
they
out.
ask what the noise is, and then she's just
goes,
standing there like, ah! And I'm like, I feel bad
And
for
then,
this
like,
lady.
She didn't act much from what I saw on IMDb. I don't know. I mean, she probably acted.
I think it was just this from what I saw.
or at least that's the only credit.
Yeah, the only credit I saw on Letterboxd.
Yeah, but then she mentions how she had an agent up until like a few years before the
Yeah.
documentary.
And the documentary at this point is like 15 years old.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
who knows what's going on right now?
Yeah, something was up with that lady. But even looking back at this and like her facial expressions, I'm like, something's up.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Something's up with that lady. But yeah, then she sees her daughter Holly working out.
Oh, I love any scene with the daughter.
Yeah.
Mainly for her enunciation of every single word is so succinct. Like, it has to end very punctually.
Yeah.
So if it ends in a T, it's t. If it ends in a D, it's duh. Like,
Is
it's
she the one who
very
says-
specific.
Is she the one who says she leaves this off her resume?
Yes. She doesn't put Troll 2 on her resume when she acts.
You know what? Smart.
She's only ever been in Mormon movies.
Oh.
I looked it up.
Well, she had a career. That's good.
Has. Still going.
Still going. Good for her. Yeah, so she's working out. And then we meet the star of the show,
Oh my gosh.
George Hardy, as the father, Michael.
He's the best.
He's so good. And
Like, genuinely, he's having fun with this, which I appreciate.
and the documentary, like, they really show you, like, this guy is like,
The documentary is essentially about him.
it really
It
is.
really is about him.
It's directed by the son actor, but
Yeah.
it's
a
mostly
really
about him.
The dad actor.
Yeah.
Dr. George Hardy.
Everyone loves him in that town. He's like a local star. Outside of the film, he was
He's
a beloved
He's a
person.
dentist in Alabama.
Yeah. And this is just something he did.
Yeah, he because I remember he was talking about when he got
Mm-hmm.
the part, he was doing dentistry in Utah at the time.
Yeah.
He saw an ad in the paper for a movie Extra, specifically an extra. So he's like, yeah, it'd be fun. Let's go do it. So he goes do it, and boom, he is the lead character dad. Like, he's like arguably the second biggest star in the whole movie beside the son.
Now, that's how I felt in Thugs versus Dinosaurs. When I agreed to do it, I thought I was going to be like a minor character because I didn't read the script. And then it turns out they show up to shoot and they give me the schedule. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the third lead character?
You're
And
just,
they
you're
were
just so
like-
talented.
They were like, yeah, didn't you read the script? And I went, no, you're high school kids. I didn't bother. But I guess,
It's a little mean.
you know, I talked to the director of Thugs versus Dinosaurs recently. And he was just like, you know, at the time we thought you were being mean to us and whatnot. But looking back, yeah, you knew what you were talking about.
A little right.
So I'm like, guys, you don't have to waste time on this shot. It doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, he's the star of this movie.
Oh yeah, he's excellent. Every delivery is perfect.
Yeah.
His like southern accent, which does not blend in with anybody else in the whole movie, is
doesn't.
so good.
Why is he Southern? Or is it just
That's just where he's from.
That's just
it's just his
natural.
normal voice.
Okay.
Like all of them are just doing their normal voice, except for the daughter, because I definitely directed to not do that.
Yeah.
Um,
They're doing their normal voices, so it's a clash of accents, but they're also reading dialogue
written by someone who is English, kind of.
Yeah, by an Italian who didn't really understand English, and they apparently said like we wanted to try to change the dialogue a little bit.
Yeah, because
but they were like, no, don't change anything.
No, this is how an American girl acts. This is how Americans act. We should know.
Reminds me of Tommy Wiseau when you hear stories of the room. He's like, no, we're making big American movie. And they're like, what?
This is in the same vein as that in terms of like a foreign director trying to make an American movie. I feel like there's like a whole, in that time period, like the late 80s to the early 2000s, where like this happened a lot in terms of its styling.
But yeah, the family is gonna. I don't understand what the exchange program is.
So,
can you explain that to me?
So,
because they're gonna
from my understanding, is since the son Joshua is seeing the dead grandpa a lot, they want to get away on like a retreat because the doctor specifically said that the grandpa is what did they say, like a figment of my subconscious or something?
Something like that. I do like. Again, they're Italians trying to do American, and like they don't know how to simplify things. But he's like, I had an imaginary friend when I was a kid, and then she goes, yes, but it wasn't your dead grandfather. Like, it's like letting us know too much information.
Yeah,
it's like, saying it's so matter of fact.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had an imaginary playmate too.
But it wasn't your dead grandfather.
But what were we talking about? I love.
Oh yeah, why they're doing the exchange.
why they're doing the exchange. So the son is seeing the dead grandpa, and they want to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city to try to like help him out with this. So they do a month-long vacation, which wild. The dad got a month off of work because he clearly works because he's on the phone taking care of some business. Yeah, like going to the office. Yeah, like crazy that he got a whole 4 weeks off approved. Wild to me. But lamenting of the millennials. But they do that swap so like they can get a taste of how we used to live a century ago. Specifically, they say how we used to live a century ago.
As if farmers haven't evolved since
or don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's like, well, no, there's farmers now. If you go to a farm now, it's not going to be like a farm 100 years ago.
Yeah, they have like technology and like irrigation systems and all this stuff. It's
they
not
got
like,
that Monsanto seed everywhere.
It's not like they're like like Russian like peasants.
Yeah. No one's attaching like hose to like oxen and whatnot.
Yeah, they're not
Clearly,
like,
I'm not a farmer.
Tools. Yeah, that's hose to oxen. It's my band's name.
But yeah, and I guess that family's gonna live in the city.
Yeah, they're like they're gonna get a taste of the convenience and technology of the 1990s.
As if they don't like go into
like
town.
they don't have like a phone or. And like when I first heard that, I'm like, oh, they like I guess they're like the Amish.
No, but they're not.
They're not.
They're not. But yeah, the town is called Neilbog. Neilbog.
We'll get there.
Well, no, we're already there. Yeah. The movie will get there.
Correct.
We are way ahead of the movie. As soon as you hear that name, you're like, nah.
It's a little suspect. But
Holly's boyfriend, Elliot.
Ooh, a New York Times bestselling author.
That is true. I saw that. That was pretty impressive.
In the end of the documentary, they have like the traditional like this is where they are now type thing, and they get to him. I forget his name. Sorry, Elliot.
Wait, hold on. I got the name. I got the name.
It's like Jerry something.
Elliot is Jason Wright.
Jason Wright, and it's like Jason Wright is a New York Times bestselling author, and I was like, no shit.
What are his books? Did you look up his books?
No.
Were they Mormon books? Maybe
they were not Mormon books, but he got to number 6.
Well, that's good. That's good. Okay, so he scares Elliot.
Yeah, which I actually like this scene.
Yeah.
Because it's genuinely tense. Like he hears the knocking at the window, the kid, and he slowly starts to walk. The music, we'll get to the music at some point.
Yeah, the music's good.
But it is a little creepy. It's a little slow building. He gets to the window and he pulls it over and he just sees the boyfriend Elliot
Yeah.
face peered on the glass, and they just scream and he falls down. It is amazing, and that's part of the reason why this movie isn't so bad.
Yeah, and it's a good setup for the ending scene, the very ending, because again, something happens in that house. But yeah, he goes upstairs and he sneaks into Holly's room.
Oh, this is there's so many quotable lines in this.
There really
scene.
is. She hits him in the balls, and he says,
Release your instincts in the bathroom.
Are you nuts? You trying to turn me into a homo?
"Now, Ian, I'm not gay, although it would solve a lot of my problems."
Would it though?
Past and present, yes, it would have. I feel like I feel like I would have had a lot more fun. I would have been less stressed, probably be in better shape.
The gays do rule the world.
Or I could be in worse shape and that would work out and make me more appealing. I don't know. I feel like
you'd be what they call
Yeah.
a bear.
That's true. Now, here's the thing. I always thought, like, you're just born that way, as Lady Gaga says. But here I'm learning that if you get punched hard enough in the balls, you become gay.
This movie is teaching me so much things. So many.
Yeah, I didn't know these things. Next time Joey sees on the show, I'm going to ask if he's ever had any crotch injuries. That would explain something. But that is like what an older Italian person would probably be like.
Especially in like the height of the AIDS epidemic in the 1990s when we were a little less accepting. And then the daughter's line is so good after it.
Yeah, which was toned down. They show in the script it was like a little bit more graphic what she describes. But yeah, what did she say?
She says, if my father catches you here, he's gonna cut your nuts off and eat them.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, the whole thing is like, I want you to come to Neilbog with me and my family.
Yeah, because he's a good for nothing.
Yeah.
He only hangs out with his friends.
Yes.
Which is a huge sticking point for Holly because, Tony, I don't know if you knew this, as Holly eloquently describes, if you hang out with just your friends all the time, you'll be a virgin for the rest of your life. Which I know was a huge fear of yours.
It was, and I hung out with that girlfriend, and that fixed one problem, but it created a whole lot of. Looking back, should have just hung out with my bros and not done anything.
Which
really.
that is essentially the Holly and Elliot plot of the whole movie. Is Elliot needs to pick between the boys, or her.
Yeah, and he can't pick. He has trouble picking one or the other.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, they're not here right now." And then as soon as he says that, here comes the boys.
Why doesn't he just give them a break once in a while? That is a little weird.
Hanging out with the homies, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe when he's like, "You gonna turn me into homo?" That was him being like, "Oh no, I'm already gay," but I don't know how to bring it up. I'll make it seem like she did it. Well, I have to break up with you because I'm gay, and it's because you hit me in the ball.
Yeah. And then he's like, I promise, I'm done with the boys. They're gone. They're out of my life. It's all about you, girl. And she's like, really? Great. Be here by 9 a.m. And then another genuinely good edit.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes, it's too clever and good.
Because it's just her face happy.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to her. They're in the car going to Nilbog, and she is distraught. The acting is minimal.
Yeah.
But the concept is there.
Yeah. And we get it, and it was fun, and she's crying, and then again they try to over-explain it. It's like, no, we know he didn't show up. We got it.
Yeah. It's
But
like,
they
you
have to
could have
spell
waited
it out.
another 15 minutes.
And then
Then they're fighting, and everybody's sad.
And then Diana, with her bug eyes, looks right in the camera and goes, Joshua, why didn't you sing that song that I like so much? Could you please sing it?
Mom, do I have to? I don't feel like singing.
And the
And
song,
she's like, just do it.
the song that she likes so much is Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Now, this might shock you, Ian, but there's a worse movie with Row, Row, Row Your Boat in it. That's Manos, the Hands of Fate. Now, that movie is
That I have seen that. That is genuinely bad.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, merrily.
That also has it's just interesting that both movies have a family singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and they end up in a weird house in a rural area. Although in Manos, I think it was the desert.
It's what like George Lucas says.
It's like poetry.
It's like poetry. Everything rhymes.
Do you think George Lucas watched both those movies, and then when he was playing in the prequels,
I think so.
he's like, I learned a lesson from Manos.
The great Italian director of Troll 2.
Claudio Fragasso.
They go on this row you boat for at least 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, it's not quick. And they
And
do
by,
like...
by the way, hold on 1 second. I'm looking at a copy and a cutout for Star Trek V, which is also a terrible movie, that also has a row your boat.
wait, it does.
scene. If you're writing a movie, do not include row your boat. We have a 3-strike program. That's 3 bad movies that used it. Get it out.
It's definitely the only public domain choice they made this entire film.
I wanted them to sing Madonna. They're like, no, we're already trying to license Michael Keaton and Mickey Mouse. Can you just use a public domain song, please? Oh yeah, and then while they're driving, they see Elliot went early with his boys to Neilbog.
Yeah. And they are in an RV.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like road trip in the Nilbog.
But also, I skipped ahead because I forgot about the nightmare scene.
Oh, right.
Which again is a little too good for they have the dramatic lighting and stuff. But yeah, Josh wakes up and he's like, his family's making fun of him and he's turning into a plant and it turns out it's the goblins.
And then he wakes up and he is genuinely really sweaty.
Yes, he is like soaked.
A lot of people are sweaty in this.
It must have been hot in Utah, man.
It must have been hot in Utah.
But then he sees Ghost Grandpa with the sign and being like, don't go.
Yeah, there's like a guy on the side of the road and he looks out the window. Oh my God, it's Grandpa Seth.
I have to throw up. And then he just runs and starts talking. In their mind, he's just talking to the air.
Well, he runs out and he goes to talk to Grandpa Seth. Like, what are you doing here, Grandpa Seth?
Yeah.
He's like, you have to turn back. There's an evil air here. And he's like, what do you mean? And he doesn't really explain it.
Yeah.
But they're going to Nilbog.
What could be in Neilbog? Goblins, maybe.
Potentially. And then they back up their, like, van. They're like, Joshua, what are you doing? And it's just a different guy.
Fucking a random stranger.
Yeah. Because they come in and they're like, where's all the people?
Mm-hmm.
And the dad is like, well, this is a farming community. They're in bed by this time of night. It's sunny as
Yeah, it's
shit.
like literally
It is like noon.
midday.
It is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And he's like, everybody's sleeping at this time of night. We should just go over to the house. And they go,
Yeah.
and then it peers onto the general store.
Yeah,
and
they're all just like. And then they meet the family, who are just being real creepy.
they're just standing on their porch, like
I get that
waiting
they're
for them?
goblins, but you've been around humans enough. Can you at least pretend to be human to
Yeah.
pull this off? But I love that he's like, we have a refrigerator and a TV
And a
and
microwave.
this," and they're just getting in the truck, leaving. But then the one throws the message to Josh.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
throw like a baseball that
yeah, and
says,
it's like, eat so we can eat you. It's like, dude, don't give away your plan.
like you're telling the kid. Also, tell your parents the
Yeah.
son threw this baseball to you.
yeah.
In green writing says they're going to eat us. I don't think the parents would have believed him. And they're like, oh, it's just some contra fun or something.
Yeah,
But-
country hospitality, which
Oh,
they come in and they see a bunch of green food, and they're like, "Well, that's some country
This
hospitality.
looks so delicious. We better just eat everything right now.
Eat it right now." And like they're about to eat, they take a long time right before they eat,
And then the kid's like, this is going to turn them into a goblin.
Yeah.
He just knows.
or you can turn them into goblin food.
Right.
Yes,
Turn him into goblin food. And then
Grandpa shows up.
the grandpa shows up outside.
Yeah,
It's like in the window. And he's like, Grandpa, what are you doing here?
he's like, "You got to tell them to stop." And he's like, "I don't know how to do it." He's like, "All right, you have 30 seconds." Somehow, Grandpa can stop time.
He's like, magic.
Yes, and by stop time, I mean the actors struggle to stay still. They're like,
I was thinking about this. I watched the movie with Johanna. You know, my wife. I had to do it.
"Wowie wow!"
I had to do it at least once. And she was like, why didn't they just take a picture?
Like a freeze frame.
Yeah.
Like I
Because
get
the
when
editing
he's-
is like pretty good. They could have like edited the kid in the shot with the
Yeah.
family, but
It's funny. 'Cause
it's better this way.
I don't know what order these are airing in, but we shot a review for X2. And there's that scene where everyone kind of freezes, and they got like actual like mimes or something in
Yeah.
this movie.
They didn't have a mime budget. The best is the dad. He was smart
Yeah.
because like he's like holding the glass and looking down. And like, I'm like, great, I can't see your eyes if you blink.
Yes.
However, you see the water in the cup moving.
I wonder if we can do it. Hold on, let's try it. Let's try it. I gotta try. I couldn't do it. Don't hire me for that role, I guess.
You'll never work with Claudio.
Yeah. So Josh comes up with a plan.
I must do it.
Even though he could just like grab the food while
And
it's
like
frozen.
throw it in the trash or like outside or on the ground or
Yeah.
anything.
Instead, he pees on it. They don't show the pee. They do another cut. Again, a clever comedic cut of them scraping the food out.
It looks the same.
And then the dad is pulling him upstairs, talking about hospitality.
You did not piss on hospitality.
No. It's, you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it. Which is like the most famous line from this.
Yeah.
And then
He like picks him up like he's like a WWE wrestler. It's like, you see these signs and it's their name on the doors where they're sleeping?
Yeah.
Hospitality.
I guess because it was hospitable that they put those signs on
Yeah,
the
and they
door.
like gave him food and like, here's the rooms you're sleeping in.
And then he takes the belt and like, oh, is he going to whip him?
Yeah, and the kid's like, what are you going to do to me, Dad? Like, he's legitimately going to beat this child with
And
a
he's like,
belt.
"I'm
And
tightening
the
my-"
mom does say, don't beat him, don't hit him.
So he tightens the belt by one loop to prevent hunger pains.
I bet your mom and sister are going to have to do the same.
Like, what? Never heard that before.
And then we get some deep father lore. Because he's like,
Yeah.
just, you want to go on this hunger strike? All right, I'll join you. But just remember, I actually went hungry as a kid. Like, he was like a really poor child.
This is written by Italians. They love to bring that up.
That's true.
I didn't have anything. Like, okay, we got it. Cool. It was interesting the first 500 times you told us. So yeah, most bizarre thing in the world. But I also like the terrifying goblin photos in that room.
Yeah, like,
That one, I think it's like a photo of like a statue. That one's actually really cool looking.
yeah. Did they make that specifically for the movie?
I don't know.
Because it didn't explain that in the documentary or anything.
No.
And like,
I wonder if those are just pictures from some like artist.
yeah, like
thing
maybe
that
they
just
like
used. Yeah.
they commissioned some local Utahian to like,
Or no, it was probably like in a
Arts.
magazine or something.
yeah, and they just like blew it up or something.
Yeah.
But it's genuinely cool.
Yeah, well, they were actually really creepy looking. The bros are in the woods watching a weird ape movie, which a few years back, like James from Cinemassacre, he found what that movie was.
Oh, he did? I've always wondered what that was.
I forgot to watch the video.
Great.
I watched it when it came out, and I retained no information, but there is a video that explains what this movie where the ape touching the rock is from. But they're loving it, but they're like, where are all the ladies?
Yeah, Elliot promised us girls.
Yeah. And then, what's his name? Arnold. Right?
Oh, the kid with the glasses?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go outside and have some fresh air, and he starts smoking.
Yeah. And then he sees a lady running in the woods. What luck?
And he's like, hey, stop. And she has a huge, like,
Yeah.
head start. Like, she is easily, like, a few hundred feet,
Yeah.
if not more, ahead of him.
Well, he's a track runner, I guess.
He is a man. If this is what powers you get from hanging out with the boys, I need to hang out with the boys a lot more.
But also, he's a smoker, so I don't know how much.
True. It was
So,
the 90s.
he,
Smoking's good for you.
He catches up with her, and she's like, I'm running from monsters. And then we see the goblins surround them, and he tries to negotiate
Yeah, he
with
tries
them.
to, like, intimidate them, like,
Yeah.
back off, Buster, and he, like, pushes the one on the shoulder. And
Yeah.
he
He
like,
calls them dwarfs, which is very offensive.
True.
And I would have let that slide, but then he does the white power sign. I'm like, wow.
like, right in front of these
ableist
goblins,
and
like-
racist? How dare you? They take shelter in a spooky house.
Oh, but you're forgetting what
Oh, sorry.
happens to Arnold. So the goblins, the monsters, the dwarves.
Oh,
whatever,
right,
They all
right.
look at each other like, who is this guy and who does he think he is? So the one, like, Olympic javelin,
Just chucks the spear
chucks
at him.
it, and they're probably like as far as we are from each other.
Probably could have just went like this instead of that.
But it's this shot of like this spear soaring through the sky. And it gets him right in the pit, you know, the perfect spot where like he
Yes.
can just hold it.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, it gets them there. Then they run
into
to what
this-
looks like a church, but it's actually a spooky house. Which is clearly like a stage inside with really fake scenery that they got from some other prop warehouse
and
threw
like
it all
they're
together.
like, oh, let's put like beakers and smoke
Yeah.
and make this really look like a creepy cabin
Yeah.
in the woods.
Now, I assume she's the lead goblin.
She's the queen. They say it later.
Okay, good. So there is a hierarchy
Yes,
here.
they
Okay.
say well, and when we get to the part, I'll point it out. But they do say that she is the queen. The goblins
Yes.
say that.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, I know what scene it is. So yeah, it's Credence Leonore Gielgud.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
to that actress.
Yeah, and she's very creepy looking. She has dirty teeth, and she is overacting like crazy.
Bro, she's kind of hot.
She gets hotter toward the end.
I don't know, man.
You liked her more with the fake teeth and the cracked lips and the.
I put some Vaseline on that all day.
God damn. That should be your theme costume next year for Halloween.
Johanna can be
can
Eleanor,
be a little troll.
and I can be a goblin. Thank you.
Sorry, Goblin. I'm so sorry that I called the Goblin a troll.
How
in
dare
the
you
movie
call
Troll 2?
Exactly. But she's definitely overacting. But
Yeah.
golly, is she not the most fun part of this whole movie?
She is having a lot of fun with this.
She's really taking it to the heart, and I love that.
But yeah, she gives them like a potion.
Yeah, like this will heal your injuries.
Yeah, because there's no hospital in Neilbog.
We take care of things ourselves, and it goes. It like zooms in on a cauldron with
Yeah.
like a skull and crossbones above it.
No, I think it was a skull with like a candle
Oh
coming out of it.
like a creepy like Frankenstein-esque imagery.
Yeah, so the girl starts to die, and she becomes plant food for the
Oh.
trolls, and Arnold can't stop it because he's frozen.
And the best part about her dying is this house has 2 levels. There's
Yes.
2 floors to it. They're on the bottom floor when they do this. She's like starting to die, like, and she goes around, up the steps, over the railing, the whole time,
Yeah.
and then she dies. I'm like, wow, that's a really inefficient way to turn someone into food.
And then Arnold realizes he's frozen, he can't move.
This, I would say, is probably the most famous line
This-
of the whole movie.
Yeah.
If you look up Troll 2 on YouTube,
Yeah.
this is like the first thing you see outside of the actual movie.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me.
Oh my god! I do like, because later on he's got like tree bark all over him, and the
Yeah.
director said like he made him put the mouthpiece on to shut him up because he kept complaining.
Well, he was in that makeup for like 14 hours, he said, like standing in a pot. And they drilled into his personal shoes.
I know.
So he would stay in it.
Well, the one actor, I'm just gonna call him Yellow Shirt when he shows up because I forgot his name, because there's a whole thing where he lost his yellow shirt, or the studio, the filmmakers lost the yellow shirt and made him buy a new one.
Yeah, you can see the original yellow shirt that he wears has like a logo
Yes.
on like the chest, and then it switches like in the middle of the scene, and it's just a straight up yellow shirt that he probably got at like a Walmart.
Now, something similar happened in Thugs versus Dinosaurs. I lost my orange Hawaiian shirt,
Oh man,
and I was like, "Shit, what are we gonna do?" I had a purple Hawaiian shirt, but I'm like, "This isn't gonna match." And then I remembered the scene that we were shooting just happened to have a wizard.
ooh,
And I was like, don't worry, I'll fix the plot hole here. And he goes, I am a wizard. And then my character goes,
He is a wizard. I met him a few years ago. He put a spell on me that makes my Hawaiian shirt blue sometimes. Like now.
and see, there's
Oh my
magic in this
goodness.
movie. What's her name? Credence could have been like, and also, I'm going to change anyone who's wearing a yellow shirt into a different yellow shirt.
that would not have been out of place.
You know, it's
For
also,
this.
it's also reminding me of Kung Pao.
Oh, Enter the Fist.
Yeah, where it's clearly 2 scenes they cut together
Yeah.
where the guy wore different outfits, and he just goes, I am a magician. You have red clothes. And then he goes, and now your clothes are black.
Oh, I love that movie. That movie's so good.
See, if you have a wardrobe thing, just make sure there's magic in your movie.
And
it
then you're
fixes-
good.
It fixes everything. Anyway, And then we see Holly dancing, and she gets a visit from the grandfather.
The dance is fantastic.
Yeah.
The finger thing, I don't think I can do it. Like, my hands aren't flexible enough. But
Oh.
yeah, that. She does that. They definitely were like, this is totally part of American Teenage Girl
Well, they probably watch like
workout routine.
what you call it? They probably watch Friday the 13th Part 5 where it has the girl doing like the dance and that.
They probably watch some like jazzercise tapes.
So yeah, he shows up there and they're doing the thing where they want him to be a floating head. So they shot him with like a black shirt on a black backdrop. But every time they do this effect, you kind of see the shirt. You see it too much.
And I'm like, okay, I get the concept, and it's a low
I get what
budget.
you were trying to do there. It didn't work out quite the way you wanted to, but they at least had the idea of how to do it.
It's a little charming.
And then, you know, it could have been the post-production. Whoever edited
Yeah.
did that chemical composite probably like screwed up. Maybe it was, but yeah, we need to go in and we need to restore this film.
That's the next project.
Digital effects. We're going to do a special edition. Troll 2.
I'm gonna add more goblins.
Add more goblins. So yeah, she she gets scared of him.
Yeah, and he's like, I saw him, Grandpa Seth.
Yeah. And then Josh is like, I'll switch rooms with you.
And she's like, really?
Yeah.
You're the best little brother. They call each other little brother and big sister a lot.
They need to remind you.
I never called my sister that. Granted, I have a twin sister.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna call her. Thanks a lot, twin sister. I don't do that. I call her by her government name.
Who's older?
Me.
Wow. You could say little
50
sister.
seconds.
50 seconds.
They matter.
My nieces are starting to fight.
Oh, it's the best.
You know, they were really good with sharing, almost too good with sharing. Because I remember my sister. I'm like, something's up here. There's going to be a hard shift eventually. And sure enough, I now getting videos of them hitting each other and
good.
fighting over a toy. I'm like, oh, it's beginning.
That's good. I mean, because they're twins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not identical, but yeah.
Well, same.
Yeah.
Well, good for her. But that just happens.
Yeah.
You're the same age, so you like
It
grow
is.
the same. So
My favorite is the videos I
clashing of
get.
egos.
Yeah, my sister will send me videos where they're doing something and then they stop and they make the same motion at the same time and it creeps all of us out.
I have done that with my sister. So
Yeah, it's
like twin telepathy. Sorry, shattering the wall. It's total crap.
Yeah.
But there are some like weird
'cause
mimicky things that we do.
You're literally around that person your entire life. You'll probably share mannerisms. But it's
Yeah.
funny, like, they'll both be crawling and then they'll both think to stop and then sit up and then look over. And I'm like, don't do that. Like, can you
That's
do
your
that?
next horror movie right there.
Oh, we're counting down the days where their hair's long enough that we do the Shining twins.
Oh,
like, we're like
amazing.
really waiting for that.
That's gonna be a good day.
Back to this. That's enough twin talk. So yeah, he basically tells them to leave again. And then yellow shirt guy goes to town because they have no food.
Yeah, they were like, did anybody bring supplies?
Yeah. And they're like, no. And I have no money.
I take it from the group fund. And he's like,
Which they have.
all right.
So yeah.
And then he goes outside. He's gonna go get ready to get some food and stuff. And then he stretches for a solid minute.
Yeah.
They
Just
make sure to
one-
get the stretching in.
He speed runs that's every single stretch though.
Yeah, he's like, ugh.
He's like,
Like 3 seconds each. And he's
Okay,
like, all
good.
right, time to run to town. I was like, you guys have a RV. Couldn't you drive into town?
yeah, why couldn't they just drive into town? But yeah, the sheriff picks him up.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we'll take you to town. By the way, eat this.
He's like, you hungry? Yeah. Here. And it's like, it's the green stuff
Yeah.
in between bread.
No one ever thinks to go, what's this green stuff?
And he's like, oh, okay, thanks. And I got it. Trust police officers. Well,
Obviously, I do it all the time.
clearly.
I was just like, oh, I wasn't speeding, but I'll take your word for it, officer.
So he just starts eating and is like, oh, this is really good. Which is a theme. Apparently, the green goop is like
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay-esque, delectable.
Yeah, so, and the family are also upset that there's not enough food
Yeah.
at the house.
Which my headcanon is because Josh urinated all over
Yeah.
the food, that he's on this like fake hunger strike, that the dad's like forcing them not to eat anything.
Yeah. Well, there's just no food in the house.
Yeah.
The mom points it out, and all the milk is like spoiled.
It's Nilbog milk.
That's Neilbog milk. And we're going to learn more about that because Yellow Shirt Guy meets the owner of the general store who literally a crazy person by his
literally.
own admission.
Yeah. In the documentary, they find him
Yeah.
and they go to his house and he's just like talking about himself and what he was doing at the time and very casually drops, "Yeah, I was in the mental institution when my agent called me about this movie." I'm like, "Hold up."
Yeah.
Rewind for a moment.
Yeah, I'm like, can you talk? He does talk a little bit. He doesn't say exactly what the problems were.
Yeah.
But he's just like, yeah, so then I went and did that.
And then he never watched it.
he never watched it. It took him, like he said, 20 years to watch it.
Until the documentary came out.
Yeah.
Is when he watched it.
And
when
then he said
started
he
doing
wanted
the fan events.
he said he wanted to kill the actor playing Joshua.
Yeah, because he was like, "It's an annoying kid."
Which, by the way, is the director of that documentary. So imagine,
So the kid's like sitting there like,
he's just like,
Huh.
I don't think he knows I'm that kid. We're just gonna. My name's Jim. Like just making up a name.
"Hey, my name's Michael."
Then he's like, I really wanted to kill him. And then you find out that he was like in and out of institution. Like, oh, he might have like actually.
Like I was like, "Oh, I kind of was a little fearful for this boy."
Yeah, and it was funny when he's just like, I didn't realize I'd look so creepy in the movie. It's like you didn't realize.
And he was like, "I wasn't acting,"
yeah, he keeps saying he wasn't acting.
which,
Good for him.
seeing the documentary, I believe it.
He should
1,000%.
He should have been the preacher.
Yeah, he would have been a good
He's a more the preacher's like the most forgettable of the main bad guys.
He would have been a way better preacher.
Yeah. So he's like he's just like, "Ah, we're vegetarians
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, he's like, "Coffee? We don't have coffee. It's the devil's,
Drink.
What was he asked for? Bacon?
Yeah, and then that's when he goes, but then he gives them the Neil Bog milk.
Rich in special nutrients.
I love that he leaves the store, clearly starting to die. The guy just comes up and goes, "Your friend said meet him in the house that looks like a church. It's a mile that way."
And he's like, "Okay." And he goes
okay, thank you.
like pre-GPS.
Yeah.
Like no paper map in sight.
Yeah. Well, they're constantly like, "Oh, it's down the road. It's a few miles that way." I'm like, can I get more instructions?
Yeah, a few
like,
miles down the road. Like,
if you told me like so-and-so was like 3 miles that way, I'm like, okay, but like what street do I turn on to get to it?
yeah.
Yeah, so the dad and son go into town and oh my God, what a shock. Neil Bog is Goblin backwards.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, you said that wrong.
Oh my God.
That's the only way you can say it.
I love like the thought process that it's just Goblin spelled backwards. Like they couldn't have thought of anything like
I know.
America Town or like Main Street or any generic USA sounding like
You know what's weird?
farmer town.
The sign on the door said be back in 80 minutes.
Yeah,
after-
for the sermon.
But it's just like, yeah, but if I get there, I don't know when the 80 minutes started.
Yeah,
Why
when
would
is the
you just-
80
You should
minutes?
be like, be back at this
Yeah,
time.
like how they have like the retail stores, they have the sign.
Yeah.
That they like move the clock. Like
yeah, we'll be back
we'll
in the
return
sun. It said,
at-
we'll be back in 80 minutes. I get there and be like,
is
did
80
that-
minutes now?
Did
Is
that
it like
start 20 minutes ago? 30 minutes ago?
well, the dad has the right idea.
Yeah,
Takes a little nap.
read a book about vegetables and fall asleep.
Yeah, it's a cookbook, a vegetable cookbook, and he takes a little napski. And Joshua, let's not forget, has a skateboard because you know
Yes.
the 90s, 1990.
Skateboarding. He likes to skateboard.
Sorry, I love Derek Cobb.
I didn't think you would get that reference. Oh shit!
Donald
yes.
Glover.
I know.
My name's Jerry. I like to
Skateboard. I heard your last student pooped his
pants. I remember watching Derek Comedy around the same time I watched Troll 2 for the first time.
watched it
And
so much.
like because Donald Glover was a regular.
Yeah.
And I remember the most crazy thing was like, oh my God, it's Bobby Moynihan.
That's how I felt. Like I knew them from Derek Comedy when I started seeing them in big things. I'm like, ah! So then back at home, Credence gives the mom and sister a bunch of food.
Yeah, she like just goes in the house.
Yeah, just walks right into the house.
Like in the house, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And
Your daughter's delicious. And the mom's like, delicious?
like, what do you mean? Like,
You shouldn't have gone to so much trouble. No trouble. Really?
I mean, she's appetizing. Like, what?
What the
That doesn't
fuck
make
does
it
that
better.
mean?
Because the daughter's like, I'm going for a walk.
Yeah.
Like, all right, see ya.
So Josh sneaks into the church and his fucking skateboard is making too much noise, but he's spying on the
Yeah,
townspeople.
he's like looking at the sermon.
Yes, and they're all like, "We hate meat."
Yeah.
And
this goes on for way too long.
yes.
It's really like
Yes.
because they're talking about like the rotting carcasses and excrement, and I'm like, okay, we get it.
We get it. You guys are vegan. Shut up about it.
Which, well, I guess is correct. This is what happens. This is what happens with vegans. Apologize to any vegan viewer out there.
I don't unsubscribe if you're
I'm just gonna see the subscriber count, just like, oh, this is a fun little dip.
it's all, overnight, it's all gone. Yeah. Like, Ian, why'd you make me review this fucking movie? Okay.
But he's spying on them,
Yeah.
and everything, and he puts his skateboard down, wheels down. I'm like, kid, come on, put it with the deck down.
Yes,
with the
obviously.
tape. Come on. But whatever, it's a movie. He's a child. I
Yeah.
get it. They're dumb. He goes over to like a little cutout to like really peer at him, and he keeps moving this board to get a better view. Oh no. This board dislodges the skateboard and it rolls down, and they notice him.
They find him and they kidnap him and they try to
With the
feed him-
most terrifying part of this whole thing. Like the kid's just, he's like sitting there and he tries to move, and then you just see the preacher's hand just like go up through the thing and just grab him in the face.
That's a really well done scene.
That's
There's
a really
another
well done.
really good scare later on.
Yeah, that one I think
Yeah.
is the genuine best scare of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Just because like of how unexpected I thought it was.
I didn't expect it to be that matter of fact, like that
Yeah, like-
blunt. I thought he would like run and they would jump out.
Yeah,
Instead,
they
it's all
like catch him, but it was just
"Ah!"
instantly, and then it cuts really fast
Yeah.
to really like hammer like the impact of that.
Yeah. So they're trying to give him the plant food to make him
Yeah,
into
like
a plant.
it's like put ice cream, Nilbog ice cream.
Yeah, the dad interrupts and now they're all human again. It's like, we were just trying to give him ice cream.
Yeah, and the kid's like, no, they're goblins, they're evil, and he keeps like saying that, and they're like, we were just trying to feed him.
Yeah. They're just being very nice.
And this is the first time the dad's like, okay, maybe something is wrong.
Something's weird.
Something is up here.
But she's going to talk to Elliot.
Yeah, the ultimatum.
Yes. Me or the boys. I think he picks her. Or no, he doesn't have time. Oh, he does eventually.
He
pick
tries
her.
to like, he's like, what do you mean? They're my friends. He tries to like say he can do both.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's either me or the boys. Mm-hmm. And the one dude who's still in the RV
Yeah.
is like, well, where are you going? He's like, I'm picking her. Picking Holly.
And I like that the dad says, I don't talk to anyone who arrives late and upsets their girlfriends. I would never talk to this dad, apparently, because I'm late a lot and upset a lot of girlfriends. So Yellow Shirt finds Arnold. And he's trying to help him, but he's too sick. And I love this scene where he takes the mouth off. He's like, you gotta wheel me out.
Yeah.
Wheeling
And
him.
he has no fear in his voice.
Yeah.
He's like, I need you to get me out of here. It's like, what do you mean? Drag the pot
Yeah.
and get me out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. He like takes him like 2 feet. He's like out of breath because he's literally dying.
Yeah. And then Credence comes back in and she chainsaws poor Arnold.
She's like, this is how we handle this. But you won't feel any pain, just a little tickle.
And it does tickle because he starts laughing as he's being chainsawed.
Yeah.
Little flower.
And I guess he dies because we
Yeah.
never see him again.
He was turned into that milkshake, apparently.
He was the milkshake?
I think so.
You know what? That would make sense.
I mean, that was how I interpreted those
Does that mean
Guido's
all
line of dialogue.
all like that green food or former people that they transform?
Maybe some of them are. I don't know.
I guess it has like, what is it, Stonehenge magic? The
Yeah, that's right.
Stonehenge ruins is where the stone... God, it's so hard to say.
And back in October, we reviewed the original Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and that also had Stonehenge magic.
Poetry.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but
I've only seen the ones with Michael Myers. I know that one does not have it.
yeah. Well, he's on TV. He's on a TV. But yeah, it's robots and Stonehenge magic and witches.
Yeah.
Or warlocks, more appropriately. Anyway,
Poetry, man.
it's
all,
poetry.
it's all
it
coming
rhymes.
back. This one did come before Halloween 3, I think.
No, Halloween 3 was before this.
Was that in the 80s?
Yeah, early 80s.
Okay.
Right after Halloween 2.
Oh, it was.
And then there was like a 9-year break between Halloween movies.
It was needed.
The family returns home and everyone's throwing a party for them. The
Yeah,
whole
and-
town.
And it's the same song loop over and over again.
A little food, they prepared a whole feast.
And they're all like dancing and they're clapping. You can definitely tell they did not have music playing
Yeah.
during the filming.
Yeah.
Because the clapping is off. Like, it is offbeat.
You know what's weird? I'm thinking about this movie now because there's like a weird kind of scene similar to this. Have you seen the last Paranormal Activity movie?
I've never seen any Paranormal Activity movie.
Well, the last one-
I'm what they call a pussy.
The last one has nothing to do with the other ones.
What's the point?
It's also not found footage. I will be doing a worst Paranormal Activity movie episode, but that movie's also about going to a weird town with weird people, and they have like this weird party thing. And then
Is everything ripping off Troll 2, man?
Troll, much like Zack Snyder, Troll 2 is the blueprint for everything. Zack Snyder was the blueprint for how to make a failed universe, cinematic universe is what I meant to say.
He's about to do it again with the Netflix movie.
People are like Rebel Moon's gonna be great. It's like no one talks about Army of the Dead or its spinoff. This is the next failed franchise.
Nah, they're just they saw how much money that the Snyder Cut made for Justice League, so they're like, we're just gonna release a bad movie and then make it good, hopefully.
This is my favorite scary scene. Josh runs to his room and tries to call his grandfather, and you think you're gonna see him again, but it's Credence instead. I'm like, okay, that actually got me.
That was pretty good.
That was a good one because you're just expecting him because he's talked to his grandfather like 5 million times.
Yeah,
in
like
this.
through the mirror and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's like a lightning bolt, which usually is the cue for the grandpa to show up.
Yes.
I saw like the theme with that.
Yeah.
You see the lightning bolt, but it's her in the window, and the mirror shatters, and out comes a goblin.
Yes. But don't worry. Ghost Grandpa, who can now interact with physical objects,
Yeah.
brings an axe and cuts her arm off.
Which it's hilarious because
Yeah.
you can definitely tell it's fake.
Yeah.
Like a fake hand. They cut it off, and you can see the blood wasn't spurting. So I
know.
definitely think somebody had to like, all right. Claudia was like, all right, you go pump of the box. You see the blood like squirt out of the hand.
I will say though, the effect of the goblin doing the verse photography in the mirror,
That's pretty
and then
good.
hard cutting to clear. I'm like, that was actually a really good edit and effect.
That's what we're saying. This movie's not the worst movie.
Again,
it's bad,
I'm
but
thinking
it's
of
fun.
lazier ways you could have done that.
Yeah.
Just like a weird flash effect, and she's
Yeah,
already
but that
there.
one
I'm
they took the footage of the mirror shattering, they reversed
Yeah,
it, and
they
like,
thought
tossed her
to do
back
that,
in.
yeah.
I was like, that's really smart.
That was good
And
of
then when
them.
it goes back to her, because she's in the church using the Stonehenge magic,
Yes.
and you see her hand is like chopped off. I'm like, wow, that's good for this movie.
Yeah. Again, there were lazier ways to do this,
Yeah.
and they chose not to.
And she gets a new hand with the Stonehenge
Yeah.
magic.
Brand new hand.
Puts it in, which it's a clever way to do it.
And
so they
then
don't
she
have to
asked
show
for
it.
like the powers to be more powerful.
Yeah, why didn't she just do that from the start?
She was overconfident. Didn't think she needed it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the 9-year-old kid and the ghost of a grandpa.
The grandfather tries to get Josh to help start a fire.
This is so hilarious.
The preacher stops it.
Because he's like, before we even get to the preacher.
Okay.
Because Josh was like, what do we do, Grandpa? It's like, let's really start a party. And he has a fucking Molotov cocktail. And it's like, how?
Did he make
he-
that on Earth, or did he bring that?
Yeah,
from
like
heaven?
is that from the Great Beyond? This
Yeah.
like the holy hand grenade, but it's a Molotov cocktail?
Speaking of all that, so they try to light it. The preacher comes in and grabs it from them. And the preacher can see the grandfather, and suddenly we're getting like deep lore with this mythical world. He's like, you from the shadow realm.
Yeah. I banish you
back to hell.
And his eyes change a little bit.
Yeah,
when
his
he's
eyes
doing
change
that.
color. But I like that the kid's just like, are you really going to hell? 'Cause-
Yeah, that's his big concern. Like, are you really?
And he
in hell,
goes,
Grandpa?
no. And I'm like, okay, yeah, obviously. But then he throws in this thing. He's like, but I'm gonna do something that I learned from someone who was there. And he shoots lightning. I'm like, you just chat with people in hell when you're in heaven? Or I'm sorry, the Shadow Realm?
Yeah. Shadow Realm's like, this will be a deep cut for your audience. It's like he's in like Yu-Gi-Oh.
He shoots a lightning bolt. And the preacher is on fire. Suddenly he's wearing gloves. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, he's on fire.
It's certainly not a flame retardant suit or anything.
And I like this part in the documentary. So the dad comes out and grabs the fire hydrant. Or the fire extinguisher.
The grandpa has a fire extinguisher the whole time while the kid is holding the Molotov cocktail.
It could be the other way.
So when he's like, the grandpa is dying again for the third time?
Yes.
He puts it on the ground, so it's just like there.
Yeah. But I like in the documentary where like what's his face is talking to Claudio. He's like, "How did I know it was there?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it.
Just do the line." And they're I love it in the documentary that they're like recreating the scenes.
Yeah.
But the director is like really like trying to make it like he's making another movie.
I know.
He's like, "These actors are dogs. Do it again. Run the line." And it's like this movie at the time was like 18 years old when he's doing this. Like, I don't know if they're going to remember the exact words. They put out the preacher, but oh my gosh.
He's a troll.
He's a goblin.
Sorry, goblin. Sorry, he's a goblin.
And they're not freaked out, really?
No, they look a little bit more confused than anything.
And all the other townspeople are like, you killed him.
We're going to you're next. We're going to do this to you.
Yeah. So they all slowly back into the house.
Well, like the goblins could kill them at any time.
There's like 15 of them.
But they want to turn them into plant food instead, which is why they're not killing them right away.
They do say, and this is like a very minor line, that if they kill them when they're people, the blood will mix with the meat and spoil it.
Right.
Which, I don't know why they called it blood mixed with the meat when they're vegetarians, but...
C'est la vie. By the way, Credence, she now has nice teeth and cleavage.
And is genuinely hot.
Yes.
Johanna Johanna was playing video games when I was watching this movie. She comes down at that part and she's like, "Oh yes, I'm at the hot part." I'm like, "What?"
So yeah, the family's back in the house and they're like, "Well, how are we going to talk to Grandpa? Do a seance?" And Josh was like, "You're a genius."
Yeah. And then is this when it cuts to the RV part before
now
the
it
seance?
cuts to the RV,
good.
yes.
Good, because I think this is my favorite part of the whole movie just because of how ridiculous it is.
This feels like it was added in. I feel like they remembered they had an extra character and didn't know what to do.
Yeah, so they had to figure something out.
So he's watching the TV.
Yeah.
And then it turns into Credence outside the RV.
With an ear of corn.
With an ear of corn being sexy. And it turns out she's actually there.
And he's like, "What kind of show is this?"
He's like, "It's just no show.
I'm not a program.
Yeah.
I'm real."
So he opens the door. She comes in. She's like, "Do you want to eat this corn?" He's like, "But I like popcorn."
She's like, "Great.
We'll heat it up."
And then she goes to make out with him. However, in true respecting of the Lord fashion, she leaves room for Jesus by putting the ear of corn in between him and her. So they're making out, but they're eating the corn instead.
Yeah. So they were going to turn up the heat to make it into popcorn. And today, you would digitally have the ear of corn shooting off popcorn. But they didn't know how to do that, so they
were committed to practical effects.
So off screen, it's just popcorn being thrown onto them.
And to me, when I first saw this movie, I was like, "Oh, this is like a dream sequence," because it's so out of place.
It feels like a Freddy Krueger sort of thing.
It seems like he's dreaming this, and then he wakes up covered in popcorn.
Does he die?
That's the last we see of that kid.
Yeah, I don't even think he died. I think that girl was just really into him and covered him in popcorn for later.
He wakes up with the popcorn. Literally, he's buried in popcorn in the RV bed. And he spits it out and he says some stupid line I just don't remember. But that's the last we see of him.
Yeah. So the grandpa shows up during the seance.
They do the seance.
And
where the hell did they get all these candles?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
It's like all these just on the table, mind you.
How did they learn how to do a seance? I don't know what the rules are for that. Don't you have to say something?
I feel like the kid would know. Joshua would know. Because he's talked to the dead grandpa a
That's
ton.
true. That's
So I
true.
feel like he would know what's going on because he's clearly leading the seance.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're doing the seance and everything. And they're like, you have to concentrate harder. And they're holding hands, so it's like the power thing. And then a bright light appears. Yes. And this is my favorite part because there's a continuity error.
Oh, what is it?
So the bright light appears, and the dad goes like this to shield his eyes from the light. And I'm like, bro, you just broke the seance.
This is the worst movie ever made. How could you leave such a glaring error?
I know. It eats me to this day. I'm glad I can share it with the world.
Yep, that's it. Worst movie ever made.
All right.
Okay, like, share, and subscribe.
It's the second time we've done that.
I know.
But Joshua, the seance is successful. However, the grandpa does not appear. Instead, Joshua flops over on the table, lifeless body. Then he turns into a goblin. Which I think they maybe did like some body switching thing. They don't really explain that too well, which I like whatever.
Yeah.
There's a seance in this troll movie that's about goblins. I'm not going to question this.
But they also learned that they have 10 minutes to destroy a magic stone.
Yeah. Joshua wakes up in the church.
Yes.
It's the first time he's ever been there. And he's like looking around like, what do I do? And the grandpa shows up. He's like, hey, we have 10 minutes to destroy the stone. And this time I'll be gone for good.
Yes, I'll be gone for good. I'll never see you again. And then back at the house, the goblins have like cornered the family.
Yeah.
And they're about to kill them, but then the queen...
She like starts to yell because they're like in the church and they're like, we need help.
But it's weird. I think we see her in the rear view mirror of the RV.
Yeah.
But I think we see a guy like legs in like wearing jeans behind her.
Yeah,
and
I think it's like a crew member or
There
something.
is another one where the town's supposed to be so empty.
Yeah, and then the car's driving by in the background.
The car's driving by, and then there's one where if you look in the mirror of like the store, you just see a guy loading up his truck.
In the similar vein, when the dad and the son go to the town, and it's like they're all at the sermon. When Joshua is skateboarding away, in the very back, you see like a Pontiac Cruiser like driving in the corner, like it's like just someone that lives there.
So yeah, the queen calls the goblins.
Yeah, and they're like, they speak English?
Yes.
In goblin form?
Our queen is calling us.
Yes. And is this the only time they speak?
This is
and
the
move
only
their
time they
mouth?
talk.
Which clearly
and they
is
move
like,
their mouth. It's clearly whoever was in the suit just has their mouth right here.
Like, our queen calls us.
And then they just vanish away.
So yeah, they want Josh to eat the food.
Yeah, they're like, how?
Because the grandfather's disappeared.
Yeah, the grandfather's
at this point. He
disappeared.
wasn't strong enough.
The way that they stop them, is they touch the stone.
Yes,
and that's how they win. That's what the grandpa tells Joshua.
Yeah,
touch the stone, and that's the only way to destroy it.
But then it doesn't work right away. But then Joshua, when he's being surrounded by the goblins who want him to eat the food, he's like, no, I'm going to have, because his grandfather gave him a special bag.
And he's like, you can only open this when it's time. Which, all right, cryptic, bro, but that's fine.
I don't know why this was time. But yeah, he pulls out, he's like, a double-decker bologna sandwich.
That is way more than a double-decker.
Yeah,
there's like 10 pieces of bologna on this thing. It is massive.
And the goblins are like, ah!
And, you know, vegetarians, they hate meat, right?
Yes, yes. But yeah, then the family comes in. They touch the stone.
And it's, don't you see? The way to defeat the goblins is with the power of goodness.
We're all good.
I'm like, the daughter said the dad was going to eat her boyfriend's nuts. The boyfriend is always late. Clearly hates all men because he chose a female over them.
Yes.
The dad fighting off hunger pains. I don't know how good that is. The mom, I don't know. Those eyes don't look good to me.
Those eyes are crazy. Yeah.
They all have the power of goodness.
Yes. The grandmother should be like, you need a loving family, so find anyone else. Just find anyone else.
Yeah, the family doesn't like the kid.
Yeah.
This whole movie.
But yeah, they stop the goblins and they go home.
This is the best because I love that they pull up to the their actual house.
Yeah.
And it's all of them in the van. Not the RV. The RV doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They're in the van.
They're in the van.
And the dad's like, I have to swing by the office and take care of some business. Like, you just got back from almost dying?
Yeah.
You're going to go to work? God, this company better give you a raise because you are committed.
You came into work on your 4-week vacation.
Early. I doubt it's been a month.
Yeah.
Mainly because they also haven't eaten. So it only could at most have been like 3 days.
Yes. And I mean, the town was close enough to drive to also.
Yeah. And then the boyfriend is like, I got to go home. Holly goes with him.
Yes.
The mom and Joshua stay behind.
So it's just them.
She eats an apple.
And then
All
Joshua hears whispering.
Yeah.
Which is creepy. And then he can't call Grandpa Seth anymore because
so
he's in the shadow realm.
So he goes downstairs, like just to follow the sounds of the whisper. And then all of a sudden, a baseball. Oh my God.
Oh no, the
comes
baseball
rolling down the stairs. And this baseball has to be massive.
It's
a
writing. Softball. It's like
definitely
a softball, but it's also a way too big of a softball.
Because like, there's a lot of words on this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yummy, mommy is so delicious.
Yeah.
Like, how do they fit this on a regulation-sized baseball? There's no way. No shot.
Yeah, why do they keep giving him hints and tips to their plan?
It is scary, right?
I guess.
Maybe they're like he beat us before. We're gonna get him.
But there he goes in, and the goblins have turned his mother into
a mannequin.
A mannequin with huge boobs.
You do see Nick.
And they're just eating her. And then they're going to eat him. Oh my God.
They do offer some to Joshua, which I thought was a very nice gesture.
That was pretty nice.
That is the other time they speak English.
Yeah.
You're like, do you want some, Joshua?
And then the movie's done.
And then it ends.
Look, it's not a great film.
It's not great, but
I feel like if you had an American rewrite the script,
yeah,
okay, if there was less of a language barrier between the crew and the cast, if you did better job with the casting, not just casting anyone, and if the effects were even on par with Troll 1,
yeah,
this would still be a very silly movie, but it would have been like a perfectly okay movie.
Yeah, there's definitely a structure there.
Yes.
That you can tell they had an idea and a vision. They definitely had like a path that they wanted to follow. Yeah. And they did as best as they could.
Yeah.
And it's coherent. Because I've seen really bad movies. I saw this movie last year called 420 Massacre.
Okay.
Which is about, I thought it was going to be about killer cannabis.
Okay.
Incorrect. It's about a guy that grows it that kills people.
Oh.
Bait and switch. I hate the movie. It's genuinely really bad. It's not funny.
Hold on. A goblin must have affected that camera. And now I'm noticing I don't have as much headroom as before because the goblin must have also bumped into the tripod.
Well, I think...
One second. There we go. Now I have headroom.
Oh my God. There must be like a wizard nearby. There must be some magic to fix the continuity errors.
It feels so weird. Yeah. So the movie is, look, not good, but okay. Again, I've also seen more garbage films.
Yeah. And it's fun. Like,
yeah.
You don't go into this movie like you see it and you don't even go in expecting a good horror movie.
No.
You don't expect anything good. But I have fun with it. It's my favorite bad movie.
Yeah. And I can see why it would be
people.
someone's favorite bad movie. As someone who's like always grown up with Mystery Science Theater, it's going to be impossible for me to pick like what is my favorite bad movie.
Right.
But yeah, no, this one's still, if you want to ease someone into watching So Bad It's So Good movies, this is a good one to do.
This is a good start because it's like, it's fun. There's definitely a structure. If you want to start with like those really bad, cheesy horror movies, I would say this is probably like the 101 course that you would give to people.
It's not even the worst Goblins movie. I've seen Hobgoblins, which was terrible. That was a Mystery Science Theater episode.
Yeah.
And then the director, around like 2009 or something, I think he made a Hobgoblins 2.
Maybe he saw the best worst movie, which
I
did release
watched
in
it.
2009.
It's actually worse than the first one because now he's trying to be like self-aware, like
Oh,
bad.
that's what I hate about stuff like that too. Like this movie wasn't trying to be bad.
Yeah.
It was trying to be a genuinely really good movie, which is why I think it has so much heart, which is a big thing about the documentary. The documentary states how all of the people that worked on the movie and all the moving parts, they come together. Yeah, it's bad. It's not a good movie. But you can tell there was passion behind it. You can tell that the people that made it had fun, except the director. He seems miserable.
He does. He seems really annoyed when you say it's a bad movie.
He seems really ornery. There's a part in the documentary where he's like, yeah, they laugh at the parts that are funny, but they also laugh at the serious parts. And I don't understand.
But yeah, he has worse films. I've seen his worst films.
Yeah, this is, if you have friends who don't really know horror movies, they don't really know, like, the B movies, the Mystery Science Theater-esque movies, this is a really good introduction to those.
Yes.
Because you can start them off like, hey, it's all downhill from here.
I do love when Hardy says in the documentary, the guy said a friend told him he started watching it and he went, turn it off, it gets worse. But yeah, it was fun to revisit this one. Now, have you seen either Troll 3?
There's a third one? I know, I was reading about the movie in preparation for this episode, and on Wikipedia, which the most trusted source in news,
obviously,
right? It says that he's like working on Troll 3, and they say that in the documentary too.
Yeah, but then it never happened.
And then it just never happened.
No, he's working on Troll 2 Part 2.
Oh, Troll. Well, that's Troll 3. It's close enough.
Well, here's the thing: there are 2 Troll 3s. So you have
there's more.
You have 2 options.
Oh, no.
You have 2 options. Okay. You can watch a movie that is actually in the A-Tor franchise, which is like a Conan Barbarian type character. And from what I read, I've seen both of these, but from what I read, the movie is either called A-Tor 3 or A-Tor 4. So I guess they were doing a lot of A-Tor movies and retitling them.
Oh no.
And the reason they call it Troll 3, even though it's a sword and sorcery movie, is because A-Tor's like little monster friend is wearing a Troll 2 mask.
Oh my god.
But he's like a character who talks.
Like this Troll 2?
Yeah, a mask from this movie.
Oh my god.
Which is why they decided in some areas to call it Troll 3. The other Troll 3.
I guess that's fine.
The other Troll 3 is a movie, again, has several titles, either Creepers, Crawlers, and then Contamination Point 7. It's about killer vines. Toxic waste gets into the ground and that makes like vines and roots evil.
Okay, I guess I can see where this would be called Troll 3 if it's in relation to this, I suppose.
I don't. In some areas they called it Troll 3. I don't know why.
Well, it's if killer vegetarians is Troll 2, just cut out the vegetarians and go right to the killer plants.
Yeah. So again, the Italian tooth, and actually, I'm starting to think the zombie franchise. So in Italy, Dawn of the Dead. The original Dawn of the Dead was released as Zombie.
Yeah.
Then there was a Zombie 2, which everyone here just calls Zombie, but in Italy it was Zombie 2.
Yeah.
But then they just started making sequels that had nothing to do with Zombie. They just started slapping the name Zombie on movies. And I think Claudio did like Zombie 3 and Zombie 4. So it's just they have a proud tradition over there of just not caring about copyright laws and just putting fake titles on things.
They were like, hey, this made money.
Yeah, we'll just call it that.
That'll help. That'll
What movie did good there recently? Troll? We're going to call this Troll 2. Yeah, this movie's great. I enjoy it.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's a good
It's
time.
not that bad, but it is a really good time. Let us know what you think. Do you think this is the worst movie ever made?
Or do you share our correct opinion?
Also, can you let me know if the monitor is now blocking my face on the wide cam since I went all the way down?
Yeah, I'm actually the new star.
I think I'm good.
I guess that's a future you problem to see in post.
If only that goblin hadn't kicked the goddamn camera.
The darn magic users.
Unfortunately, I lent my Stonehenge rock to a friend.
Curses.
So I don't know how to get to fix it. All right, yeah. Where can we find you, Ian?
I don't know.
You have a social media.
Yeah, I'm on X.
His ex is going to give it to you. Okay.
R.I.P.
That's true. God, I forgot about that. Oh,
A lot,
fuck.
a lot of death in this
It's
one.
a really sad episode.
It's morbid.
And yet, for reasons unknown, I'm giggling a lot. I don't know why.
But humans cope with humor.
That's how it was. A goblin didn't give me anything before the shoot.
But yeah, I'm on like the artist formerly known as Twitter. I'm on Instagram.
Adam does that fucking joke.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
It
Is that
is
the
a
guy
good-
that hates -1?
Yeah, it's the guy who
He's a
wrote.
bozo. What a wrong opinion.
I can't believe of all the Godzilla podcasts, mine had to be associated with that.
The one that has the guy that hates the Godzilla movie that everybody likes.
I'm like, this is the worst. Subscribe to Castzilla or watch the live episodes to know what we're talking about. But yeah, that's it from us. Goodbye.
Take care.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.